Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing my August reading wrap up and all of these books that I read last month because it's the 1st of September today. So I'm going to go through them, tell you if I liked them, my star rating, which I do like a star rating out of 5. And tell you what I liked about it, tell you what I didn't like about it, and there will be no spoilers in this. Just tell you the things that people don't know about this book, well, these books. So let's get started. So the first book I read this month was November 9th by Colleen Hoover, which is about Ben and Fallon. So Fallon is she's the lead girl, and they're from, where are they from? Well, yeah, they're from LA. So Fallon was in an accident, which she has a scar on her from her face to down her chest. Is that right? Yeah, I think it is. From an accident she was in, and she's like, she was an actor before, but now she's not, and she met Ben, which is the lead guy in this book. They met in a diner, and then after that they really liked each other, but she didn't want to get in a relationship with him until she was 23. So they just decided that every November 9th they would meet each other until they're 23. And always every November 9th something would happen, and yeah, it's just crazy because Colleen Hoover's books just always have like a big plot twist, and when I read this I was like, what the hell? You wouldn't have expected it, but at the same time if you pick up the details, then like I read it back over again and I read through it again, and it was like kind of clicking more because I had read it. But I gave this book a 5 out of 5 because it was just really good and I loved it. So yeah. The second book I read this month was Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover, which this book is about Kenna. She has been in jail for 5 years, and she has a daughter who she has not met. So she gave birth to her daughter when she was in prison but never got to meet her because she was a premature baby and she couldn't meet her when she was born. So after the baby was born she got taken back to jail, so she couldn't meet her or anything. But after she gets out of jail she meets Ledger, which is a friend of Kenna's daughter Dime or Deem, I don't know which name it is because the daughter's name is, where is it? The daughter's name is spelled as, where the hell is the daughter's name? D-I-E-M, but the whole book I was reading it I was like Dime, so I'm not sure, but other people say Deem, so I think it's Dime, I don't know. But yeah, so she hasn't met her daughter, but she runs into Ledger and doesn't know it's him until he tells her his name. Yeah, and then she kind of puts it together and realizes that he has a relationship with her daughter, and he knows her daughter basically. So he knows her daughter, and then he finds out that she is Dime's mum, and then he just like splits contact with her, doesn't want anything to do with her, but then they build a friendship. Deem or Dime, whatever her name is, she lives with her grandparents, which are her dad's parents, and they want nothing to do with her. They get a restraining order against her and they don't want their daughter to meet her mother. But as always in a Colleen Hoover book, there's a plot twist and always a happy ending, so this is a really good one. Next book I read was The Love Hypothesis. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is one of my favourite books. If you have not read this book, you need to read this book. This is about Olive and one of the professors who works at her college or university. She's a scientist and she's trying to get her PhD in science. So this starts off with so Olive was she wasn't dating this guy, but she was seeing this guy for a little while, and then she let her best friend meet him. I can't remember what his name was. Right, I can't remember his name, but she was seeing this guy and she let her best friend meet him, and then they had like a really strong connection. So Olive decided that she wanted them two to see each other instead, but Olive's best friend Anna didn't want to because she thought that Olive still had feelings for her, had feelings for him. So she was very hesitant about it, but Olive was like, no, I'm seeing someone else, which is the professor, Mr. what was his name? Adam Carlson. I can never pronounce this. So one day when she had said to her best friend Anna that she was on a date, she wasn't, she was in the lab, and she saw Anna come in, she was walking about near the lab, so she grabs the nearest person to her and kisses them, which was Adam, and then they become like like a fake relationship, fake dating kind of situation. So this is like a fake dating trope. So yeah, it's a really good book. I recommend it. So next book I read was Malibu Ryzen by Taylor Jenkins Reid. At first, when I read this book, started reading this book, I wasn't liking it. I did what's called, annotate it, because I thought I wanted to start annotating. I just hate doing it because it just takes so long. But anyway, so I started annotating this book, but I didn't really like the start of it until it got to like when events were happening. So this is about 4 siblings. Nova. In this book, when I was reading this book, I thought their last name was River, but it's not. It's Riva. R-I-V-A. I don't know what it says. Nina, her three siblings, her 3 siblings, Jay, Hud and Kit, and it's about their life and their parents' life and their famous dad, what's his name again? Mike. Their famous dad Mike, who is a singer, and about their past and what it was like growing up with him and what he did. And it's when they're older as well. It's in their point of views of when they're older, so it shows that, and it'll do like flashbacks to when their mum and dad met, and then it'll go through that, and it'll go through like their childhood and growing up and what it was like being around him. So yeah, I liked it. Oh my god, I haven't been given the bloody star reviews. Oh my god, hold on. So we're gonna go back to, no wait, should we? Yeah. So back to Reminders of Him. I gave this a 5 out of 5. And The Love Hypothesis, this was a 5 out of 5. Oh my god. And I gave this one a 3 out of 5, which I would say is very accurate. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. It was a good book. Next book was Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. So I've had this book for ages, but I just kept putting it off because how thick it is. Also, when I got it, for over 100 pages, there's a line, like, can you see that? half the words missing, so I couldn't read it. So I had to read on half of the book online because I couldn't make out what the words were saying. So yeah, but I put off this book for a long while for reading it because it's so thick, and because I just didn't hear good reviews on it, but I really liked it. So this is about Morgan and her daughter Clara. So Morgan was a teen mum, and she was a teen mum when she was like 16, and she doesn't want her daughter Clara to go through, like, to do the mistakes that she made when she was 16, and to have a child young. It shows both point of views of the mum Clara and the crazy story that happens, which I recommend this book to everyone. This is so good. I gave it a 4 out of 5. In my books, actually, I should say, I put a sticky note in it, so I write what I liked about it, the story, and I give it and the number of book it is, because if that makes sense. How many? Yeah, that doesn't make sense, but yeah. So I gave that a 4 out of 5. It was really good. People should read it because Colleen Hoover's books never fail. There's always a good plot twist. They're just good. Next book I read was They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Sorry about that, I don't know his name. This book was going viral on TikTok for ages, and I've had this book for ages. I just never got around to reading it, but then I did this month, and it was awful. I did not like this. Everyone was like, this was my favourite book, I loved this book, blah blah blah. I just didn't like it. I think there was a little bit of romance at the end. I like romance books, so there was a little bit of romance at the end, but it was just so boring. As I kept reading, I couldn't wait to finish the book so I could read more books because this book sucked. So this is about Mateo and Rufus. They get a phone call from Deathcast telling them they have 24 hours to live, and just basically saying sorry because they've only got 24 hours to live. And everyone on TikTok was like, do they die, do they not, do they die, do they not? They do die. Because, is that a spoiler? No, I can't say that, that's a spoiler. But something happens like near to the end, and I'm like, they cannot die because that would just ruin it. And then one of them, I can't remember who died first, I think it was Mateo. He dies first. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I gave this book a 2 out of 5 because I actually hated it. But it was, I mean, it was a good, how do I explain it? It's like a good idea, like the whole book, but I just wasn't my cup of tea. I like romance books. The next book I read was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is who Malibu Ryzen is by as well. So I liked this book. So it's obviously about Evelyn Hugo, which is a famous actor from, when was it? She's like from like the 50s and the 80s. Stuff like that. Owns up this, what's it called? So this writer's agency, this writer's name is Monique. She phones Monique's agency or whatever. She's part of like a big writing company or whatever, and she asks Monique to write an autobiography about her life and about her 7 husbands. So when I was reading this, I liked it until it got up to her 7th, no, not her 7th husband, her 6th husband. The book is just really repetitive, and it's oh, that's a spoiler, I can't put that in. So it's just about her 7 husbands and what her relationships were like with them, but it's just really like repetitive and like the same story and the same thing happening. But it was okay, I liked it, but I just wasn't my favourite, and I gave it a 3 out of 5, which is very accurate because I don't really like it. And the last book I read this month was Book Lovers. This is by Emily Henry. Really pretty book. So this is about Nora and Charlie. They're both, she's a, what is she? So Nora is a literature agent and Charlie is an editor. I think, like a book editor, I think. I don't know. Well, obviously a book editor, all they talk about is books and all. So they knew each other, kind of. They didn't like each other at first, when they first met each other. But then they meet a couple years later, because she goes on holiday with her sister. What's her sister's name? Libby, I think. I just read this, how do I forget her sister's name? Yeah, her sister's name's Libby. So her sister and her go on holiday to Sunshine Falls. They go on holiday to Sunshine Falls, which is Charlie's hometown where he lives, and he had to move back there. He went back to see his family, to visit them, to help them with their bookshop, and her sister and her, they go to Sunshine Falls for a month to get a break from New York and from Libby's. She wants to get away from her kids for a while. So then Charlie and Nora, they start working together on a book, and then they just spark up something, and then her sister, oh my god, that's a spoiler, I can't put that in. They just spark up a relationship. But yeah, it's a really good book and I recommend it. I gave this a 4 out of 5. I mean, it was really good, but the ending could have been better, because the ending made no sense, to be honest. Is that a spoiler? It didn't even, oh, I don't know how, no, that's a spoiler. But yeah, the ending just didn't make sense, and I didn't really like the ending, so that's the only reason I gave it 4 out of 5. So yeah, that is all the books I read this month. I only managed to read 8 books, which really saddened me. I wish I could have read more, but I had school, I had things to do, so I couldn't read more. But my TBR for next month is going, well, my TBR for next month is a lot bigger, so we'll see if we can get through those books, and I'll do a September reading wrap up for you. So thank yous for watching this video. If you liked this video, subscribe for more, because I'm going to be doing a lot more book videos and book related stuff. And like it, follow me on Instagram, which is it's Alicia C. I'll put it in the description. And also, disclaimer, these were my opinions on these books. Everyone will have different opinions on the books, but these were just mine, and if you didn't like it, that's not my fault. If you didn't like it, just deal with it. So thank you for watching my video, and see you guys later. Bye.